Good evening and welcome to Roundtable. Today we have with us a renowned guest. He is Mr. M.M.Zuhair, President's Counsel, former Member of Parliament, Ambassador to Iran and also former Chairman of the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. So good evening, Mr. Zuhair.
Good evening and welcome to all our viewers. Thank you.
And Mr. Zuhair, you have been holding a very important post, a lot of them. So would you also tell our viewers a little bit more about you, like your background?
Well, I am a lawyer by profession. I was also served the state as a state counsel in the Attorney General's Department from about 1972 to 73, having taken my oath as an advocate at that time in 1972. I served the Attorney General's Department as State Counsel and retired, virtually resigned after 10 years in 1983. As you will recall, during that time, we looked forward to a career in the judiciary, but some of the incidents that took place at that time, like the arrest of Mrs. Vivian Gunawardena by an OIC of Kalpiti police during the time of a demonstration, and the subsequent promotion given to him as an ASP after a Supreme Court judgment virtually found fault with the inspector. President Jayawardena gave that inspector promotion as ASP. Thereafter, we also came across an incident where houses of judges, Supreme Court judges, were thrown with stones by thugs and unruly elements because of a judgment that the government was not happy with. And then soon after that, I still remember one Kalulaki went to the media, particularly the Lake House, and said, I did this. And there is in law a confession, but no prosecution whatsoever. So that was the state of affairs. So I thought having a career in the judiciary is not ideal with this type of misuse of power or abuse of power. Of course, that happened during that time. But then since then, I have been involved in current affairs, political issues, of social service in the country as well to some extent. I was a Member of Parliament from 1994 to 2000, during which period I had the opportunity of participating as a member of the Select Committee on Constitutional Reforms, also a Select Committee on Media, laws relating to media. So that had been my background, and then soon thereafter, for a short time, as you have already mentioned, I was Chairman of the Rupavahini. During that period, I was also Chairman of the Board of Governors of Zahira College, Colombo. Then thereafter only I was posted to Iran, where I had served for about 3.5 years, and I am back here now.
Now, when you are speaking about your role as an ambassador in Iran, Mr. Zuhair, we know that you have actually played a very crucial role in the process of the war, because you have also canvassed a lot of economic support from Iran and also contributed a lot in defeating terrorism and getting this conflict to see an end. So can you comment and can you explain to our viewers the crucial contribution that you made?
Thank you, Deepamala, for the complimentary part of the question that you have raised about my performance as ambassador in Iran. Frankly, I think the contribution that we had made should ideally go to the president of the country, because it is he who appointed me to that position. I think those of us who serve the country in whatever capacity under the government, under the president of the country, should recognize the fact that we wouldn't have been able to make any contribution but for the appointment that was given. So I am very grateful for the opportunity that the president gave me to assist him in performing this role in a way which I thought, as you rightly pointed out, had finally helped this country very substantially. I would in particular remember, you might recall, that during 2007, the government wanted to raise about $500 million US from the HSBC. And there was a massive protest and opposition that the then leader of the opposition, who is also presently the leader of the opposition, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, created. as you are aware, this was mainly to fund the ongoing war. We needed to buy ammunitions, equipments for the armed forces. But the leader of the opposition even threatened the HSBC that if you do grant this $500 million, you will be packed off when they ever come to power. Now, that was the level of threat. Now, I would recall thereafter, we were able to successfully negotiate thanks to the guidance of the president. I must also here mention President Mahinda Rajapaksa is easily accessible on the phone. I had no difficulty in reaching him on a daily basis if necessary, though we never inconvenienced him, and that was a big advantage. Now, during this period, he had served as president of the Palestinian Solidarity Front. In other words, he had been supporting the cause of oppressed people the world over. The Palestinian is one of those important segments that he had supported. Now, this really made a significant impact on the minds of the Iranian government in supporting us, apart from the fact that I did a lot of work together with many others who contributed. Now, during this period, the importance of this is we had difficulties even in importing and paying for crude oil that we needed for our country. The Iranian government gave us a massive facility, which was a credit, where you didn't have to pay any interest, and the value of that credit, that was between 600 to 700 million US. This amount of money started being made available to the government of Sri Lanka on account of the deferred payment facility that was given for the purchase of crude oil. This in turn helped the treasury to tide off some of the immediate cash requirements problems that was faced by the government at that time. So we are very glad that thanks to the leadership of the president and his friendship with countries which were in a position to help us. In fact, you might remember there was high opposition to the visit to Iran by certain circles. But notwithstanding the opposition, the president boldly decided that it is important in the light of developing scenario on the war front, where the LTT was getting ready for full-scale war, and there was already a series of violence that have been unleashed on the armed forces, on civilians in this country during the year 2006. He decided, no, we have to be ready on all fronts. So the financial arrangement and the diplomatic arrangement that was really spearheaded by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Rohit Bogalagama, under the direction of the President, and we were able to work together to ensure this facility was available throughout the period of the most important year critical for the war, 2008, from January 1st onwards. And now it is still in operation, and it has been extended till August next year. That's a very significant contribution for the ongoing war that we had at that time.
Yes, we're speaking to Mr. Zuhair. He's former member of parliament and also the President's Council and also the ambassador to Iran. And we just touched on his contribution in the context of defeating the terrorist organization. And Mr. Zuhair, it was also a very important point to note when you said that it was actually, you cherish that as an opportunity given by the President, because it's the President's leadership that gave you the opportunity to perform your task in the context of defeating terrorism. So, because it's a war that each and every ministry and delegation and entity which got involved in the war had a part to play, and nobody on their own could not claim ownership for defeating terrorism, because everybody had to play a part to actually defeat the terrorism as a whole.